talk about why the 49ers are going to destroy Washington. Dad, you first.
Oi.
Oi.
Here's the deal. The Commanders, I want to get back to their name in a minute because I could have thought up better names than Commanders.
Yeah.
The Commanders are a well-coached team that tries very hard. They have a zilch offense.
Yes.
Against ordinary defenses. Can you imagine when they play? What if they play the 49ers defense?
What if?
What if they play the 49ers defense?
Yeah.
It's going to be grim. It's going to be grim when that happens, Iggy. And so I just think, I'm not saying the Niners offense won't play well, but I'm saying the defense will win the game and absolutely smother the Commanders.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of game where the opponent could score 6 points.
Yeah.
9 points, 10 points, something like that. What's interesting about this matchup, I do expect the Niners to win comfortably. But what's interesting about this matchup is that Washington does have a good defense. They have a kick-ass D-line, a big, strong D-line, and it'll be an interesting test for the Niners' offense. It'll look sort of like a playoff defense, and we might get a slight preview into what this Brock Purdy production might look like in the playoffs down the line. But other than that, they're going to win by double digits.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. It'll be a nice test for Brock Purdy and that offense. But, Iggy, like the last game the Niners played, it was never, ever in doubt. I don't imagine that this game against the Commanders will ever be in doubt. In addition, certain games have suspense and drama. I don't expect this game to have those qualities.
How can the Commanders create suspense and drama if they're only scoring 6 points or 7?
Yeah.
I don't see how they can do it. So they have they have their version of Brock Purdy and Taylor Heineke, plucky quarterback, some decent running backs. I don't know. They actually have some good wide receivers. I just don't think they're talented enough. They're like a bad version of the Niners offense. The Niners have a decent offense. This is like everything but worse than what the Niners have. A worse running back, worse wide receivers, worse tight end, worse quarterback, a worse offensive coordinator. It's Norv Turner's son. So you got Norv Turner's son against Mike Shanahan's son in this game. They're very similar, these teams. Very similar. Apparently, Washington leads the league in time of possession. So really all their offense tries to do is waste time. I don't know if that's going to get it done against the Niners. I don't know. But that's what the Niners try to do on offense a lot, too. Just chew up time. Go slow.
Norv Turner, nice man, very good offensive coordinator, just didn't have it as a head coach.
No. Mike Shanahan was a better head coach, but those two guys were really and Mike Holmgren were like the three top offensive minds of the 90s.
I would agree.
Those three were the guys. Yeah.
I would agree. I want to tell my Ron Rivera story.
Yeah.
And then I want to go over other better names for the Commanders. Obviously, they had to change a name. You can't have Redskins. I totally get it. It would be like calling them, the Washington Jews. You can't have that. So,
although I wouldn't be against a team called the Jews. I think it would be kind of cool. You could have Yarmulke night. I'm just saying. I think it would be fun. I would go. I would buy that. I would buy that hat. I would wear that shirt. But that's just, I don't know. That's me.
Yarmulke night, I like it. And after
kidding?
a touchdown, they could daven in the stands.
That would be really fun.
They could do this with.
Right? I'm just saying. Yeah, I would do that. I'd be all over that.
Menorah Day.
Matzo ball soup day. Are you kidding? It needs to happen. Should happen. The Jews. The Maccabees. Sorry. The fighting Jews.
The fighting Jews. They're right. They could have the Maccabee section.
They got the Maccabee section.
Yeah, it's Hanukkah coming up. I mean, or is it Hanukkah now? I don't know.
It's the third night. That's how shows how good we are, Dad.
No, I got to tell you, I've been sick all week. I don't even know what day it is.
Okay.
Can you hear how snotty I am? So, Ron Rivera's story. Years and years and years ago, you may not know, he played linebacker for Cal. And so, after games, I would be interviewing people. They'd bring a player in. And me and the other press, we'd sit and they'd bring him in. And here's Ron Rivera, who I didn't know at first, personally, sitting near me with a pad out, taking notes on my questions. So when the whole thing was over, this was the very first time, we interviewed somebody and it was over, and it was clear I was done and I was going to go right. He said, Lowell, he might even have said, Mr. Cohn, may I just bother you for a few moments? I'm Ron Rivera, and what's more, he was a hell of a star. And I said, sure. And he said, he had his pad. You asked this question. What were you trying to elicit? When you got this answer, what did you think? Why did you follow up with this? And I thought, oh, my God. Yeah. I have never met a college athlete or, frankly, a college student with this level of maturity.
Right.
And in that season, he did it every single game, every single home game, and we had that conversation. I was so impressed and so charmed. Now, he went into the NFL and had a very good career. Mm-hmm. When he asked me those questions, I didn't know that he would be a successful head coach in the NFL, but I knew he'd be somebody.
Yeah.
Because he's the only one in all of the years covering sports who ever had that level of interest, because as a future head coach, he wanted to know how to handle the media.
Yeah. Or maybe he was thinking maybe he would be media one day. Who knows what a young Ron Rivera thought his options could be when he was older.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm talking professional athletes college. He is probably the top 5 or top 3 who've ever impressed me at that level.
I covered the Super Bowl at Levi's when he was in it when he was coaching the Panthers, and he was there every day that week. And I went up to him and shook his hand and reminded him of that story, and he remembered it. So just wanted to.
He did?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Interesting.
Because not only was he sincere enough to write it down, he actually remembered it 30 years later.
Yeah, he's a wonderful guy. And, he's a military kid. I think he grew up, down near Monterey. And he's a very serious chain of command person. And I want to tell you, it's not very fashionable these days. I find it interesting.
Fred Warner's the same way. Fred Warner, middle linebacker, military, I think so. I mean, he's down from San Diego, which is I'm pretty sure Fred Warner's the same way.
And he's BYU, right?
Yes.
And Tommy Homo, former 49er, is the athletic director and really likes Fred, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. No question.
Some names for the Commanders.
Oh, yeah.
I understood why they had to change the name. Let me just say I think names that might have been better. The Senators. They've used that name before for baseball teams. Yeah. Wouldn't that be a nice name, the Washington Senators?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any, Iggy? Because I have more.
Well, they had it for a year as the Washington football team. I thought that was actually kind of cool to just call it that.
By the way, I would have preferred if they called it. That would have been. That would have been
a lot.
Really cool.
Because, naming it after like a cat or an animal is so lame, Or something that no one knows. What is a commander? No idea what a commander is.
Yeah.
But I will say, if they change the name of the stadium to Commander's Palace, I'm in.
Explain why.
Commander's Palace is our favorite restaurant in New Orleans. It's an old school restaurant that we try to go to when we're in New Orleans, and it's great. It's called Commander's Palace. So,
another one, Iggy, the Washington Capitals. Now, was that the team that the Globetrotters always beat?
No, no. The Washington Capitals are a hockey team.
Oh, well,
then
team. You can't do that.
The Generals.
Sure.
Wasn't the Washington Generals that the Globetrotters always beat?
Was that it, the Generals?
So the Commanders kind of sound like the Generals. It means like you're going to lose all the time. It's a bad name.
Okay. What about the Washington Congress?
That's terrible.
Terrible. Don't make me laugh. I'm so congested. It sucks, right?
That was the worst. Yeah, it's all right. We'll let that one
okay.
slide. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's another reason Washington can't compete with the Niners, because they have a terrible name, and the 49ers are – what do you think of the Niners as a 49ers?
It's one of the best names in sports.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's really good.
Yeah. It's at the level of Yankees.